to Earworm, everybody. Here we are, Timothy Malone and young master Zachary Smith here, and we've got our what is it, Zach? Third guest,
Third official guest.
and we have Andrew, young Andy Smith, on with us today. Um, we've been trying to get him on for a while now, and he was a little scared, but sometimes the people we know can be wussified. But Andy. We kind of gave you the gist of what our show is about, and it's music oriented. Why don't you let us know what you're thinking, what you want to talk about? You had something to say, give it to us.
So something that really chaps my ass when we're talking about this is we have a music show with no music, and I know that you guys had some copyright concerns about people trying to sue you or people trying to steal all the the millions of dollars of revenue that you're bringing in from all the commercials that you guys have on the show. But we need to do something about that. We have a vast amount of music to talk to. There's lots of podcasts that do it. I don't know the law, but I have a feeling that there's a way around it.
And Zach, and I agree with Andy, and I've done some more research, my friend,
Oh, you've
Oh,
done
because
some
let's hear the
research.
latest and greatest.
well, I do research all the time, you bastards. Um, welcome to my world, listening audience. Um, he's right to a certain extent. Because we make no monetary gain from these broadcasts, we can do it.
All right. This will be the first episode with just littered with music. Andy,
Tunes, my
what
And
friend.
from
what's the first song we're gonna play?
well, I have one in mind,
Go.
There we go.
but it's not. You know, I think the way around it is one, just play small clips.
Yes.
You're
And
not going to play a 5 minute song. You're going to play like a 20 seconds or 5 seconds or 10 seconds, whatever the case may be.
yes. And Zach, he's right, because that's also what I saw in my research, is that if you parse it small based, like less than 10 seconds, there's nothing they can do even when we start making money, right?
And then there's some production companies that'll come after you, and then some will feel like what it's just more, because there's also a benefit to the band. So if you're playing a band, then it's going to bring maybe turn some people onto that band that haven't been turned on to that band before. So it's a potential for a win-win, even if the copyrights are in place. So just the thought out there. So now that I got that off my chest, Zach did ask me whether or not there was a song or uh, like an album or something that influenced my life. And the list is long and vast and wide ranging, and there's all kinds of stuff that I could talk about. But today at the gym, I was listening to something that you guys that know me know that I love Metallica. It's probably one of my top two favorite bands, top three maybe, along with maybe like Alice in Chains and Soundgarden or anything Chris Cornell. But Metallica has a pretty vast catalog, and the one song today that really makes me feel like the early roots of theirs is from the Kill 'Em All album. So that's Metallica's
Nice.
first album. Um, I think it's around like 19. All right, so I just looked it up. Not 1983. So that was when they had Dave Mustaine was not actually on the album, but he wrote a lot of the material for the album. Dave Mustaine's the Megadeth guitar player, who was kicked out of the band for being a drunk. And then they also had Cliff
They
Burton,
kicked
who was
somebody out of
the.
a metal band for being drunk.
You never heard this
Yeah, that's
before?
interesting, right?
You never heard that before, Zach?
Well,
I
I
think I
just
might have I mentioned
I
it in
don't
like one
feel
of our
like that like matches. Isn't
Well, they
that the
were all
thing?
drunks, but so like they were all drunks, but he was when you get kicked out of a band for being a drunk by a bunch of drunks, that has to tell you something.
Yeah. That'd be like, I mean, what are half the people still doing up at Graham's hanging out?
I think it's more along the lines of he wasn't able to perform on stage,
Okay. All
falling
right,
on
I
the
get that.
ground.
I get that.
Um, so then it also has Cliff Burton. So their first three albums had Cliff Burton, who was the
Bassist.
who was one of the most one of the most popular bassists around for I don't know when he died, like in the mid '80s at some point.
In Europe.
Um,
They had a bus crash and the fatality out of that bus crash. I think it was in Germany, Andy, and it was the only one that didn't show up when the police showed up was Cliff, and it freaking changed. It pretty much, I mean, in my opinion, it changed the band, man.
so how does this work? If I wanted to play like a 10 seconds of a song, would you guys hear it on your end?
Let's give it a
Let's
try,
find out.
Zach. Let's go.
Let's find out.
Bingo, bango, bongo.
Uh, all right, so we're gonna do Metallica, and we're gonna do the Four Horsemen. So
Oh, that's what I was just trying to hum.
there's something that I like about Metallica, and I don't know if they were the first ones to do it, but they were certainly the first ones to popularize something called galloping.
Yeah,
And if
yeah,
you're in the guitar world, the gallop is the kind of bouncing off the low E string.
yeah.
Um, and so that's something that, let me just see if you can you guys hear that?
Nope.
No.
No? Okay. It must be a setting thing.
Ah,
Okay.
fuck.
Anyway,
Which
we'll
song were you?
figure it
Which
out.
song? Oh no, where's because Zach does the editing, but what song were you trying to play?
So the Four Horsemen.
Okay. The four horsemen ride. They come to take your
So
life
it's
under the
the
dead of night.
it's the galloping of the song. It's like I think that first album, people define punk in many different ways, but I think that first album is very punky in the guitar playing,
Right.
the way that the riffs are structured, more like bouncing off that E string with I don't even know how to describe it, but some of their later stuff, it's more complex, it's more all over the place. But that
Yeah.
first album is just very punky, very straightforward, very speed metal, and
Yeah.
definitely good gym workout music. The solos hit hard.
So
Um,
that's where I would get confused with that. But so speed metal and punk, how would you define
Differentiate?
that?
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, in my opinion,
I mean, I don't know that like are you just talking about the guitar aspect of it, like you said, is the punk
yeah,
sound,
yeah,
right?
the guitar aspect of it.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, I
Okay.
mean, and it's the way that the sound's coming through their amplifiers. I mean, are they what type of inflection control are they using? Are they using like specific amplifiers and stuff like that? Punk and this is my opinion, just the research I've done. Punk in and of itself didn't have any of that. They didn't use any like whammy bars or any of that stuff. They just played. They plugged into an amp. They plugged into an amp and they just played. But Metallica and bands like Metallica, more metal-esque, wanted the sound to be bigger, like, brrr, like Slayer and like Black Sabbath let it off back in the 70s, like big, powerful, and where I mean both of them are fast, right, Andy? Like wouldn't you consider like both the music orientations, metal and punk, like fast?
Let's say, yeah, they're both fast. They could be very similar in speed. Metal tends to be a little faster, and when I say faster, I don't mean the drum beat or like the beats per a minute. I mean like the actual riff is probably faster. So
Yeah,
you would probably like that galloping thing that I was talking about. That's definitely metal.
right.
Like punk is not necessarily that fast. The other thing that metal has is if you picture an amplifier. Uh, there's all different kinds, but usually you have a low, mid, and high
Yeah,
setting for the amplifier.
absolutely.
I would say that punk usually has higher mids, and then the metal bottoms out the mids.
Yeah.
So a metal usually goes up on treble, up on bass, down on mids, and punk usually goes up and not as fast and also not as intricate. And then metal has much more intricate solos. Um, but if you compare and contrast that first album from Kill 'Em All to their later stuff, definitely the most punk out of all their and the most basic out of
Oh
all their
yeah.
stuff, but also straightforward.
So yeah, I would agree with you, Andy, that Kill 'Em All was definitely the closest to punk because I think maybe their instrumentation was less affected to the sound. Like punk didn't have effects. They just went because they didn't have the money, Zach, to like, play with the music and stuff like that. But then
Like you said,
also,
they just had to figure it out with the guitar. They had to plug it in and like make it work,
go. Yeah,
find the sound they
whereas
wanted.
yeah, Metallica had the pedals out there, not Metallica, but like all the metal bands, they wanted to make it bigger and more robust. And to agree with Andy, Kill 'Em All was faster. I mean, Ride the Lightning was pretty freaking fast too, and Justice for All was pretty freaking fast. But as they went on, there was a lot of like ballads, Andy, and as they went cruising on with the other albums and stuff, like a little slower songs, those other songs after those first, I'd say 2, 3 albums. I mean, when it comes to, metal music, Metallica kind of like, would you agree with me, softened to a certain extent?
Yeah, they softened. I think that more than anything, yes, I would say they softened, but I would say that they're exploring. Like they're a band that, at least from what I've heard, once they do something, they're not trying to do that same thing again.
And I
Trying to do something different.
I agree
So like,
with
all right, well,
you.
we've done that thing already. So now let's try to tweak it a little bit. That Load album, the Load album came out when I was in high school, and that was their one, two, three, four, fifth album, I think.
Hmm.
And that's the one where they all cut their hair. They all got a bunch of tattoos. They all put eyeliner on. They kind of went down a different direction. But the other thing that they did is they changed their sound. So they added some more mids in their sound. They changed their guitars. They changed their amplifiers. They did a whole lot more effects pedals, ton of effects pedals, more flange, more wah
Right.
wah than any
Wawas.
other album that they've had. And that actually was one of my favorites. But that was more like, I don't want to say glam rock. Like there's some type of a like new age. I don't even know what to call it, but the rock and roll that was popular in the late '90s or early 2000s, they kind of adopted that sound and were trying to fit in with the modern rock sound. But that '80s sound was different. That was like very little pedals, if any, maybe maybe an overdrive pedal or a lead pedal. Yeah, they definitely had some wah wah pedals, I guess.
Yeah.
Um,
So is that, I don't mean to make you repeat yourself if you're going to, but is that why they changed their sound so much? Because music around them was changing?
It's a good question.
I'm not,
um,
so for the record, I'm not a huge Metallica guy. I know them in passing. I don't know all of the details of them. So what was the big change now that
It's
we're
because
talking
their
about it?
first 4 albums came out before you were born, so it's kind of weird.
So
I think
it
it
was
was more
me.
like they did it. So they changed because, I mean, I don't know all the answers, but I know that they listen to a lot of different bands, and then they'll, like any person that has influences, you'll start uh, to copy what you like. And also, you don't want to do the same. Like they were touring since 1982, and it's now 1995. So it's like let's update the sound a little bit. And even from album to album, their sound changed for each album. Their
But
sound was different for each album and evolved, but it was a pretty big jump for that fifth album.
to
Fifth out.
change the sound for each album and keep the overall picture though, that's pretty impressive. Like you look at people today that change from genre to genre, it doesn't sound the same at all. But they change not much genre, but they go from the punk sound to the metal to then flatten it out, but they keep their sound through it. That's pretty impressive.
And the other reason I really like that is because go out on a limb here, but I would say James Hetfield, from a singer songwriter guitar player perspective, there's not much out there that's like him, a person that has the writing ability. So his lyrics are pretty. I think that they're pretty deep, and also his play style is very fast. And to be able to sing and play, anybody's ever tried to play guitar knows that singing's hard by itself, guitar's hard by itself. Singing and playing guitar together is a whole nother level of complexity, and especially when you're playing as fast as these guys are playing, and being able to come up with the messed up lyrics that they have, which is sad in a way because if you really listen to their lyrics and read their lyrics, gives you insight into what's going through that guy's head, and there's a lot going through that guy's head.
Yeah,
There's some
and and
messed up
you
stuff that's going through his head.
and you mentioned earlier like Dave Mustaine, who's one of my favorite artists of like all time, Megadeth. Their Peace Sells is a freaking great album in my opinion, and it was the album they came out with. It was I mean, album and a half after he left Metallica. They basically kicked him out of the band. They said, they were going to another show. They hired somebody else to fill in for him, and they're like, Dave, here's your plane ticket or bus ticket. You're out of here, buddy. And Peace Else is a freaking great album, in my opinion. But I mean,
He
and
sells, but who's buying?
yeah, Peace Sells, but who's buying? But that freaking those first couple albums with Dave Mustaine involved, they shared the songwriting, him and James Hetfield. Um, I mean, I love this all, and I'm sorry, Zach, that this is kind of outside of your genre scope, but I've seen both of these bands probably three times each, and it's really impressive, and it's like a massive show when you go see a band like Metallica. It like shakes you to your core. You're like, "Brr," and
I
they
would
make
I kind of want to go see them because it would introduce me to that uh, I feel like I was in that pocket where I was born where it was well known, but
right.
I don't know that I would like gravitate towards that. I didn't get until into metal until close to high school. So I was like August Burns Red, Motionless in White, Bless the Fall type of like screaming shit. Like
Okay.
I really appreciate these bands, but like Kiss, Metallica, all it I don't know a lot about them or the scene. So it's kind of the point of the show, right?
Oh, dude, with all due respect to everybody involved here, it surprised the heck out of me because Zach and I were talking about having young Andy on here. That's what we call him because there's another Andy that we know. Um, he went out to Vegas to see the Dead at the Sphere, and Zach and myself and a bunch of other friends have been at Andy's house, and he has got would I
Andy, that was one of my questions. How many records do you
hundreds.
have? Do you know, is
Yeah.
there a number?
I don't know the answer to that, but I can guess, and it depends on what's your definition of a record. The only reason I ask is because I have a box set from King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. That's a 13 disc box set.
They're on
So
tour
does
right
that
now.
count as one or 13?
They're on tour right now.
I would, uh, fuck. Would it make it easier to make it count as one?
You
It would
bastard.
it would actually make it easier to count as 13 because I think so. I
All
would
right,
say if
let's
you
count
count
the
that
box.
as
Yeah.
13.
All
So
right.
if the question is how many LPs do I have or how many actual discs?
Yeah,
It's
yeah, that's it.
something that you can put on a turntable and put a needle on. How many of those do you have?
My guess would be somewhere between 1,500 and 3,500.
First of all, that's a pretty big gap, but damn.
Well, it's because it's hard to tell.
1,300 and 1,500, Zach?
No,
That's a big gap?
13 and 3,000.
My God.
So like 15 and 3,000. So I just don't know. I know for so I have about 500 records maybe that I've logged,
What do you mean?
and I'm
For our
I
listeners and stuff, what do you mean logged?
logged on Disc Cogs. So it's an app that you use to buy and sell records or log your own collection.
Okay.
And I think that's around 10%, maybe like 10 to 20% of my collection. It's hard to tell.
So
Dude,
let's go 2000.
Yeah,
That's
so it could be 2000.
crazy. Do you
that's
Yeah,
know?
so it's a
So
lot.
my other question is, do you know what the first one you ever got was?
good question. Good question.
That is a good question.
I have seven, so it's kind of easy for me to remember.
My initial answer would be no, I don't. I think the first one that I remember buying was probably so the first one that I got indirectly was probably Men at Work.
Oh my God.
Which one?
I don't know the popular one with
What do I
who could it
not
be?
know?
Yeah, yeah. So that one was one that my brother bought probably in 1986, and it was sitting in my parents' house, and then I got that. The first one that I probably bought as an adult was probably the single soundtrack. I bought that before I actually had a record player to play it on because I knew that I was going to get one. And then I bought this Alice in Chains live album from their website. So I had a couple before I even had a record player.
So you're not that much younger than me, and you're about 3 years younger than me, and you bought the second album you're talking about from a website?
I buy most of my stuff from websites. So I buy
But
some.
regardless, I mean, Andy,
Yeah,
my
when
first
did you
out.
start?
I was about to say
I
my
was a
my first.
recent starter.
Okay, my first album I ever
Wow.
bought was The Who Hooligans. I bought from a record store right next to Waverly Theater in downtown Drexel Hill, Pennsylvania. And I'm talking, I gathered $20 up so I can go here to buy the damn thing in the 19, I'd say like 1983 or 4.
Were you just about to say the 1900s?
Oh, you're a bastard.
All right, so let me go down the kind of the trail of how we got to this place. So you're
Yeah.
right, I'm a late starter. So
Okay.
the whole trail is I would say I got into music in middle school, whatever, and I started to buy cassettes because that was the thing at the time. You buy a cassette player, you have a boom box with like two different places to put the cassettes. You could buy the blank cassettes and record from the radio. I did that. You would pull a little tab out of the back of
And
it so you could record over it.
Andy, I gotta stop because Zach has no idea what the hell you're talking about right now.
Get the
You
yeah,
always learn.
come on. I've listened to some cassettes. I got grandparents. Come on.
Oh, really? Have you ever seen an 8-track? Have you actually held one in your hand, you bastard?
Probably not, no.
And
Ah.
then and then I started to get into CDs. I think I was probably in ninth grade when a friend of mine had we were over his house and we listened to Pink Floyd Pulse, or no, sorry, the Delicate Sound of Thunder,
Oh yeah.
and probably Pearl Jam 10, and
Great album.
probably um, I think it was Led Zeppelin 4. So those are my first three or four CDs. And then it wasn't until recently we had a record player at the house, but we didn't use it too much. One of the records we had was Pac-Man Fever. I don't know if you remember that one there, Timmy.
I think the gentleman's name was Garcia, if I'm not mistaken. It's
I
not
don't know.
Jerry. I think it's like Garcia
Yeah, it could
Brothers
have
or
been.
something. Yeah.
But they had a song for every video game. They had like
Yeah.
Intruder Alert, Space Invaders, all kinds of so. But then when I got older, one of my buddies, I have two buddies who got me into this. So my one buddy lives out in Pacific Beach, Southern California,
I lived there. I lived there for a couple of years.
and I went to visit him, and he had a very nice turntable with an integrated amplifier, very nice speakers. Um, and I listened to a few records there, and it just kind of blew my mind how much better music can sound when you're listening to it on a good system. And then another friend of mine lives around here, and he has a record player, and he got like an updated cartridge for the record player and a nice integrated amplifier and speakers. And I was listening to music there, and I was like, "Yo, this is my thing, man. I love the way this shit sounds." So I
So,
started to listen to it, and that was probably 2017, maybe
okay. So,
Wow.
2017, 2018.
So Zach, we got some other friends who are really involved in like um baseball cards and stuff like that. It sounds like I mean, it sounds like something comparable. I mean, is this like investing to you or
I mean, so I have a monetary value to this stuff. Um, Discogs will give you a low, medium, and high record of it, but I
Like the
don't really
intent,
plan to sell the
yeah.
majority of this stuff. I plan to listen to it.
The intent's not to sell it. It's like the
Yeah.
baseball cards are like buy it, hold on to it, then sell it later. This is just buy it for the
And they can listen to my
collection and
records.
yeah.
Like those baseball cards, there's no video or sound that comes with them.
I completely understand, but I was just trying to like correlate. And it's funny, by the way, it's Buckner and Garcia who with the Pac-Man fever
Okay, yeah, that sounds
going out
familiar.
of my mind, Pac-Man fever. Anyway, um, so it's funny, Andy. Not to like completely change the subject, but there are some topics that Zach and I wanted to speak to, and we brought up the whole Grateful Dead and stuff like that. Because, I mean, honestly from Earworm, the guys here in the show, we thought there was going to be some jam band esque discussions. But I mean, you and I talked about Zach, death metal. Andy, we talked about like Volbeat and Ghost and stuff like that because I've seen both of those bands. Ghost sucks, by the way. Um, but
Not everyone's perfect there,
no,
Timmy.
no, I know, but try to be do better. I mean, but it's pretty impressive, like the amount of like, and the reason we have you on here is like, dude, we've been to your house and those freaking records, and I'm kind of surprised, Zach. I don't know about you, buddy. He chose Metallica for this discussion point today because I was expecting like Ripple or something like that.
Of all of the music that you've put on over there, I don't think we've ever dabbled into the heavy metal or the
Yeah,
rock,
yeah,
So
So
there's a reason for that.
um
okay,
yeah, I mean time and place, but
Yeah.
like I was imagining like Fish or Grateful Dead or bringing one of them, but I kind of underestimated the knowledge of the instruments that you brought
love
in the
it,
band. Like that
freaking
kind
love
of
it,
blew me away. I
freaking love
was
it.
I was just like staring at the wall, like I got no clue what to talk about.
So,
Got it.
so sticking with the Metallica theme, which I think the Earworm hosts are both in agreement that it surprised the heck out of us, but I'm a huge fan. I am a 100% huge fan. I remember listening to Ride the Lightning on my way home from like football summer camp. I freaking love it. So to put you on the spot to I wouldn't say wrap things up here, but kind of make our way to the end of Earworm podcast today. My favorite song, Andy, is "Make Us Fight on the Hills in the Early Days" from Ride the Lightning. I freaking love it. I can listen to that every day, twice a day, begin my day, end my day. What would be your favorite song from Metallica if you go the scope of their work, which is pretty vast at this point?
So I'd say because Metallica, the first album that I listened to was the Injustice for All album. That was the one that with one on it.
Oh yeah,
I would say Dyer's Eve is
yeah.
probably my favorite Metallica song with lyrics. And then To Live Is to Die, which is the song right before it, has my favorite guitar part, I would
Okay,
say.
all right. Zach, you know what? We'll include you in this. You're barely 30 years old at this point. What do you have a favorite Metallica song? Just
A lot of jabs in here, a lot of jabs in this
Yeah.
podcast about Zach's youth here.
Hey
You know
Andy,
what I'm saying?
Andy, you're a guest. You need to pipe down a little bit,
Whoa,
buddy.
bossy boy tonight. What the? Um, I mean, so it's their most popular song of Enter Sandman because they played at Flyers games in the intro. That brings back memories. And how do you not love Sandman coming in Hammerstein Ballroom, ECW, bashing a beer over his head?
My God,
You know what I mean?
everything comes back to professional wrestling.
Everything comes back. No,
Jesus.
but it's a good song. It's annoying, but it's a good song. It's good memories.
Oh man, and Andy, just to give you a heads up, the generational differentiation of like Zach and I, this is so huge in our freaking podcast because like you and I kind of quasi grew up with Metallica. Like, you know, I mean, Ride the Lightning came out when you're probably like seventh grade.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Yeah, and then like that was 20 years before freaking Zach was even born, you know. I just like, oh my God, like make us fight on the hills in the early days. Oh, dude. It was like in a weird sort of way, and it's like inspirational to me. I'm like, ah, like I've seen him so many. I just remember remember back in the day, Andy, that freaking hair, like brr, just going with the freaking like the bass line. It was insane. You don't see that anymore. You even know what I'm talking about, Zach?
And the hair coming down,
Oh,
do
it's
you know
just
who you're
like,
talking to?
oh, good point. Apologies.
Come on. No, but also, Nothing Else Matters. That's a great song.
Oh, that's a
That's
great
a
song.
very good song. I really like that how just it's a depressing rock song sound, and it kind of works. Like there's a lot of those that I don't like, but that one is just that fucking hits. That works in both scenarios. If you're not having a good day or if you want to get pumped up, that one kills.
Yeah.
That is another one of my favorites. That's one of my favorite songs to play on guitar. It's a if you're having a good day and the chops are good and you're in, you've been playing a lot recently, then that song can go well and that can make you feel really good about playing guitar. A lot of very rewarding song to play.
I, you know what? It's funny. We're sitting here talking about our favorite Metallica songs. I was just sitting here thinking, like, playing the songs in my head. Battery is probably up there in my top three. Oh, that's like speed metal to the nth degree. It's also melodic because speed metal a lot of times had like just dude just like yelling and stuff like that. But battery, battery, you know, I that oh my gosh, like I'm going to football practice in my mind right now.
One of the things
What
I love
position you
about
play,
all
Timmy?
their stuff and Tim and Battery is their classical guitar influence. So there, a lot of their music has some classical guitar parts. Battery starts off with a classical guitar piece, and then blends into the heavy metal riff.
And then they break it down to go into like ding, 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 like they really like fingering, and then they go back to the like the freaking blasting away, and I like they did that on like basically the Injustice for All, Ride the Lightning, and you know Kill 'Em All. They did a lot of that stuff. You go back and look at. All right, my
I heard
you
fingering and a blasting together in the same.
Oh, I could barely hold it together, bro. That was great.
you're welcome, you freaking knuckleheads. That's what I'm here for.
Oh
My
God.
dog, my dog just ran away from me after I said that. And so, kind of to wrap things up here, guys. Andy, thank you so much. We have talked at the beginning, and this is our 17th episode. You can cut that out, Zach. But we really wanted to get our friends on here that were into music as much as YMZ and I are, and it's great. And I thank you so much for being here. But to wrap things up. I'm just gonna say that you surprised the heck out of us with your kind of qualitative choice because we were talking about Grateful Dead and Fish and death metal and all the albums, and you came right to it, and I thank you very much, my friend,
I
for
want to be
bringing.
predictable.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, talk to us. Like, hey, just kind of wrap up your appearance on Earworm if you don't mind, and say, dude, tell us, man. Like,
There's a
I,
lot to fit in. There's a lot of pretty open ended, but
right.
Metallica is one of my favorite bands. There's a lot of I could speak for days on them, and it really like a lot of certain parts. A lot of my favorite solos. they're just very, the depth of their lyrics, I think, is something that goes unnoticed or um, not talked about a whole lot. Everybody's big into the guitar, and rightfully so, and the drummer Lars and everything. But the lyrics and the mastermind behind it all, as James Hetfield, I think, is the one of the most underrated singer songwriters of our time.
Maybe we'll have a live episode at Meat Night. Andy will get the guitar out and start playing some Metallica for us. Talk more about it.
I know a handful of riffs, not the fast ones, the slow ones.
Yeah, the slow ones. We'll have a vibe session.
The acoustic guitar Metallica riffs.
That would be weird. Zach, thank you, my friend, as always. Great episode, Andy. Dude, virtual hug for you, brother, because we didn't think you were going to come on, but dude, thank you, because But everybody, we appreciate your viewership of Earworm. Let us know what you want to hear and talk about. And Andy, Zach, I probably agree with me. We need to have you on again.
Andy's going to come back.
Yeah.
We love Andy here on
Appreciate it, fellas. We need to figure out the music thing between now and then.
We're going to play some stuff on here. Also, in between him coming back on, we may have to have a guest with hair. This is our third guest that's been bald.
Oh, I'll wear a wig next time.
Okay, yeah, that counts.
All right, challenge extended. Challenge extended. All right, thank you, brothers. You guys, see you soon.
Peace.
All right, guys, later.